Consistency in the right movements has a transformative effect on the aging body, one that goes far beyond temporary improvement or short-term progress. When exercises are chosen with purpose and performed regularly, they begin to reshape how the body functions at a fundamental level. Strength is no longer something that fades uncontrollably. It becomes something that can be preserved, rebuilt, and relied upon in daily life. The body responds to repeated signals. Every time a muscle is engaged correctly, it receives a message to stay active and capable. Over time, these signals accumulate, leading to measurable changes in strength, coordination, and endurance. This process does not depend on extreme effort or long hours of training. It depends on accuracy and repetition. Small, well-executed movements performed consistently can produce results that far exceed those of occasional, unstructured activity. One of the most important outcomes of this approach is the restoration of confidence. Physical decline often brings hesitation. Movements that were once automatic begin to feel uncertain. Standing up, turning, or stepping onto an uneven surface may require more thought and caution. This hesitation is not just mental. It reflects a genuine reduction in the body's ability to respond quickly and effectively. When strength and stability are rebuilt through consistent exercise, that hesitation begins to fade. The body regains its reliability, and with it comes a renewed sense of control. This improvement extends into every aspect of daily living. Tasks that once felt demanding become manageable again. Carrying groceries, climbing stairs, or simply maintaining balance while walking no longer require the same level of effort or concern. These are not small victories. They represent a return to independence, a state where the body supports rather than limits your actions. Another critical benefit is the long-term protection it provides against injury. Stronger muscles support the joints, reducing unnecessary strain and improving alignment. Better balance reduces the likelihood of falls, which remain one of the most serious risks for older adults. Improved coordination allows the body to react more effectively to unexpected changes in movement or environment. These protective effects are not immediate, but they build steadily with consistent practice, creating a foundation that supports safe movement over time. What makes this approach particularly powerful is its sustainability. Exercises that are simple, effective, and time-efficient are far more likely to become part of a daily routine. When a routine is easy to follow, it is easier to maintain. This consistency is what drives long-term results. It eliminates the cycle of starting and stopping, which often prevents meaningful progress. Instead, it creates a steady path of improvement that continues to build with each passing week. There is also a deeper physiological response taking place. Regular, targeted movement improves circulation, enhances nerve communication with the muscles, and increases the efficiency of energy use within the body. These changes contribute to a greater sense of vitality, making movement feel less like an effort and more like a natural part of daily life. The most important realization is that the body remains adaptable, even later in life. It does not lose its ability to improve. It simply requires the right conditions to do so. When those conditions are met through consistent, purposeful exercise, the trajectory of aging begins to shift. Decline is no longer the default outcome. Strength, stability, and independence become achievable goals that can be maintained over time. This is not about reversing age. It is about redefining what is possible within it. It is about taking control of the factors that influence how the body performs and making deliberate choices that support long-term function. With the right movements, practiced consistently, the body responds in ways that are both powerful and lasting, reinforcing the truth that meaningful improvement is always within reach over 65. These 3 exercises are better than walking, surgeon approved. If you believe that daily walking is enough to keep you strong, mobile, and independent after 65, you may be putting your health at serious risk. This isn't speculation. It's a hard truth backed by clinical observation and years of working with aging bodies that slowly lose strength. Not because of time, but because of the wrong type of movement, walking feels safe. It feels productive. It feels like you're doing the right thing. But here's what most people don't realize. Walking alone does not stop muscle loss. It does not rebuild strength. And it does very little to improve balance or protect you from falls. In fact, thousands of older adults who walk every single day still experience weak legs, poor circulation, and declining stability. That's the hidden danger. You think you're maintaining your health, while your body is quietly weakening underneath you. But here's the reassuring truth. You are not stuck with decline. Your body still has the ability to rebuild strength, improve circulation, and regain stability if you give it the right stimulus. And today, you're going to discover 3 simple yet powerful exercises that do what walking cannot. They activate dormant muscles, they force blood to circulate where your body needs it most, and they train your balance in a way that directly protects your independence. These are not complicated routines, they don't require a gym, and they can be done safely at home. But their impact is profound, because once you start using your muscles the right way, everything changes. Your legs feel stronger, your steps become more stable, and everyday movements, standing, climbing stairs, even getting out of a chair, become easier again. This is the difference between aging passively and aging with control, and it starts with understanding one simple truth: not all movement is equal. Some movements maintain, but the right movements restore. Let's begin. Walking has long been praised as the gold standard of healthy aging, a simple daily habit believed to preserve mobility, protect the heart, and maintain independence. For decades, older adults have been told that as long as they keep moving and get their steps in, they are doing enough to stay strong. That belief feels reassuring, logical, and safe, but it is no longer accurate for the body after 65, and relying on it without question can quietly accelerate physical decline rather than prevent it. The reality is that the aging body changes in ways that walking alone cannot address. After 60, muscle mass begins to decline at a faster rate, a process known as sarcopenia. This is not just about losing size or strength in a visible way. It is about losing the very tissue that supports your joints, stabilizes your posture, and allows you to move with confidence. Walking, while beneficial for cardiovascular health, does not provide enough resistance to stop this muscle loss. It does not challenge the muscles deeply enough to stimulate growth or even maintenance at the level required for long-term independence. This is where the hidden problem begins to take shape. You may walk every day, remain consistent, and feel as though you are actively protecting your health. Yet beneath that routine, your leg muscles can still weaken. Your balance can still decline. Your ability to react quickly to a misstep can still diminish. Over time, these small, unnoticed losses accumulate until they show up in very real ways: difficulty climbing stairs, needing support to stand up, or feeling unsteady on uneven ground. What makes this especially concerning is that walking reinforces a forward-only, repetitive pattern of movement. Life, however, demands much more than that. Real-world movement requires strength in multiple directions, the ability to stabilize the body under shifting conditions, and the power to control your weight when you bend, reach, or turn. Walking does not train these abilities. It maintains a narrow range of motion while leaving critical systems underdeveloped. This is why so many older adults who are consistent walkers still experience falls, joint discomfort, and progressive weakness. The effort is there, but the stimulus is incomplete. The body is being moved, but not trained. And there is a clear difference between the two. The more effective approach is to recognize that walking should be seen as a foundation, not a complete solution. It supports circulation and general activity, but it must be combined with movements that challenge the muscles directly. The body requires resistance, even in small amounts, to preserve strength. It requires controlled, intentional motion to maintain balance. It requires variation to keep joints functional and responsive. When the right types of exercises are introduced, the body responds quickly, even later in life. Muscles begin to activate more fully. Stability improves. Confidence returns in everyday movements. Tasks that once felt difficult begin to feel manageable again. This is not about replacing walking entirely, but about correcting the imbalance that walking alone creates. Understanding this shifts the entire perspective on aging and movement. It replaces the idea of passive maintenance with active preservation. It turns routine into strategy. And most importantly, it gives you back control over how your body performs in the years ahead. Muscle loss after the age of 60 is not a slow, harmless process that can be ignored or postponed. It accelerates in a way that is both predictable and dangerous when left unaddressed. What makes it even more concerning is how quietly it happens. There is no sudden warning, no dramatic signal that forces immediate attention. Instead, strength fades gradually, control weakens subtly, and physical capacity narrows until everyday tasks begin to feel harder than they should. This process, often referred to as age-related muscle decline, is not simply about appearance or reduced energy. It directly affects how your body functions in the most practical, essential ways. Muscles are responsible for stabilizing joints, supporting posture, and generating the force needed for basic movements like standing up, climbing stairs, or carrying objects. As muscle tissue diminishes, all of these actions become less efficient and more demanding. One of the most overlooked aspects of this decline is how it impacts independence. The ability to move freely without assistance depends heavily on lower body strength and coordination. When those systems weaken, reliance on support, whether from furniture, walking aids, or other people, begins to increase. This shift often happens gradually, making it easy to dismiss at first, but it represents a significant turning point in long-term health and autonomy. The body does not maintain muscle on its own without a reason. It responds to demand. When muscles are regularly challenged through resistance or load-bearing activity, the body adapts by preserving and even rebuilding that tissue. When that challenge is absent, the body begins to reduce muscle mass as a way of conserving energy. This is a natural biological response, but in the context of aging, it becomes a serious disadvantage. What many older adults are not told clearly enough is that low-intensity activity alone is not sufficient to stop this process. Movements that do not challenge the muscles beyond their comfort level fail to trigger the necessary response for maintenance. This is why routines that feel active can still lead to gradual weakening. The effort may be consistent, but without enough intensity or variation, the muscles are not given a reason to stay strong. The consequences of this go beyond reduced strength. Balance becomes compromised as stabilizing muscles weaken. Reaction time slows because the body cannot generate force quickly. Joint health begins to decline due to reduced support and alignment. All of this contributes to a higher risk of falls, which remain one of the leading causes of serious injury in older adults. What makes this situation urgent is that once muscle loss progresses beyond a certain point, recovery becomes more difficult. It is not impossible, but it requires more effort, more time, and greater consistency. Acting early, before significant decline sets in, provides a clear advantage. It allows the body to respond more efficiently and helps preserve function at a much higher level. The encouraging reality is that muscle tissue remains adaptable, even later in life. The body retains the ability to rebuild strength when given the correct stimulus. Targeted exercises that involve resistance, controlled movement, and proper engagement can reactivate muscles that have become underused. This process does not require extreme workouts or complex routines. It requires precision, consistency, and an understanding of what the body truly needs. Shifting from passive movement to intentional training changes the outcome entirely. It transforms the trajectory from gradual decline to active preservation. It restores capability rather than simply delaying loss. And most importantly, it reinforces the physical foundation that supports independence, confidence, and quality of life as the years continue forward. Poor leg circulation is often dismissed as a minor inconvenience, something associated with temporary discomfort rather than a serious underlying issue. Cold feet, mild swelling, occasional tingling, these symptoms are frequently ignored or accepted as a normal part of aging. That assumption is where the real danger begins, because circulation is not a secondary function. It is a core system that determines how effectively your body delivers oxygen, nutrients, and energy to the muscles that keep you moving. As the body ages, blood flow to the lower extremities can become less efficient. Arteries may narrow, veins may lose elasticity, and the natural pumping action of the muscles can weaken. This combination creates a situation where blood does not circulate as effectively as it should. When circulation is compromised, the muscles in your legs do not receive the support they need to function properly. They fatigue more quickly, recover more slowly, and gradually lose their ability to perform even basic tasks with ease. This is not just about feeling tired after walking or experiencing occasional discomfort. Reduced circulation directly affects stability and coordination. Muscles that are not properly supplied with oxygen cannot respond as quickly or as accurately. This delay in response can be the difference between maintaining balance and experiencing a fall. It can affect how confidently you walk, how securely you stand, and how well you adapt to uneven surfaces or sudden changes in direction. What makes poor circulation particularly concerning is how it interacts with other age-related changes. When combined with muscle loss, it accelerates weakness. When paired with reduced activity, it creates a cycle of further decline. The less you move, the worse circulation becomes. The worse circulation becomes, the harder movement feels. Over time, this cycle reinforces itself, leading to increasing discomfort, reduced mobility, and a growing sense of physical limitation. Another critical factor is the role of circulation in removing waste products from the muscles. Efficient blood flow does not only deliver what the body needs, it also carries away what the body no longer requires. When this process slows down, metabolic byproducts can accumulate, contributing to stiffness, soreness, and a heavy sensation in the legs. This makes movement feel more difficult, even when the actual physical demand has not increased. Many individuals attempt to address this issue by simply increasing their walking time, believing that more steps will naturally improve blood flow. While movement does support circulation, repetitive, low-intensity activity does not fully activate the muscle pump mechanism required for optimal blood return. The muscles need to contract with enough force to push blood effectively through the veins. Without that level of engagement, circulation remains suboptimal despite regular activity. The solution lies in movements that actively stimulate the muscles responsible for circulation. When muscles contract more powerfully and through a fuller range of motion, they act as pumps that assist in moving blood back toward the heart. This improves overall flow, enhances oxygen delivery, and supports more efficient muscle function. It also reduces swelling, alleviates discomfort, and creates a noticeable difference in how the legs feel during and after activity. Addressing circulation is not about doing more of the same movement. It is about doing the right type of movement. Exercises that involve controlled contractions, changes in position, and engagement of the lower leg muscles can significantly improve blood flow in a relatively short period of time. This targeted approach breaks the cycle of decline and replaces it with a cycle of improvement. Recognizing the importance of circulation changes how you approach physical activity after 60. It shifts the focus from quantity to quality. It highlights the need for intentional movement that directly supports the systems your body depends on most, and it reinforces a simple but powerful truth. When circulation improves, everything else begins to follow. Long exercise sessions have long been associated with better health, creating the belief that more time spent moving automatically leads to better results. This idea is deeply ingrained in routines where duration is prioritized over effectiveness. For older adults, this approach can be not only inefficient, but also misleading, because the body after 60 does not respond to movement in the same way it once did. It requires precision, not just repetition, and intensity applied in the right way rather than extended periods of low-impact activity. Short, strategic exercises challenge this outdated belief by focusing on quality over quantity. They are designed to activate specific muscle groups with enough intensity to create a meaningful response. This is where the real transformation begins. Muscles are not maintained by how long they are used, but by how effectively they are engaged. A brief period of targeted effort can stimulate more muscle fibers than an extended session of repetitive, low-resistance movement. This concept becomes especially important when considering how the body adapts to routine. When an activity is repeated in the same way over time, the body becomes efficient at performing it with minimal effort. While this efficiency may seem beneficial, it actually reduces the level of stimulation required for improvement. Walking, for example, can quickly become a low-demand activity for the muscles, particularly when performed at a consistent pace on flat surfaces. The body adapts, and the benefits plateau. In contrast, strategic exercises introduce controlled challenges that force the muscles to respond. These movements may involve holding positions, shifting weight, or working against gravity in a way that requires effort and focus. Even when performed for a short duration, they create a level of demand that the body cannot ignore. This demand signals the muscles to stay active, maintain strength, and improve coordination. Another critical advantage of shorter, targeted routines is their impact on joint health. Long periods of repetitive movement can place continuous stress on the same joints, particularly the knees and hips. Over time, this can lead to discomfort or strain, especially if the surrounding muscles are not strong enough to provide proper support. Strategic exercises, on the other hand, are designed to strengthen those supporting muscles, reducing the load on the joints and improving overall alignment. These exercises also play a vital role in improving balance and stability. Unlike repetitive forward motion, they often involve multi-directional movement and controlled shifts in position. This trains the body to respond to real-world situations, where balance is constantly being challenged. The ability to stabilize quickly and effectively is what prevents falls, not simply the ability to keep moving in a straight line. Efficiency becomes a key factor as well. Short, focused sessions are easier to maintain consistently, which is essential for long-term results. They remove the barrier of time and reduce the likelihood of fatigue or overexertion. This makes it more realistic to build a routine that can be sustained daily, rather than one that feels demanding or difficult to continue over time. What emerges from this approach is a more intelligent way of training the body. It is not about doing less, but about doing what works. It is about recognizing that the body responds to the right signals, not the longest sessions. When those signals are delivered through precise, controlled movement, the results are not only faster, but also more meaningful. This shift in thinking changes how progress is measured. Instead of counting minutes or steps, the focus moves to strength, stability, and control. These are the qualities that determine how well the body performs in everyday life. And these are the qualities that short, strategic exercises are uniquely positioned to develop, making them far more effective than extended periods of unchallenging activity.